Hello, my name is Jessica Petelle. I'm a producer and editor of REBURN, and I'm here with Alyson Shelton, our creator.
Hi, I'm Alyson Shelton. I wrote and created REBURN. Thanks for watching.
Yay! So we are excited to come to you today with a video. We wanted to talk to you a little bit about REBURN. We've been having a very successful Kickstarter campaign, thanks to all of our amazing backers. I think we're at like 348 backers. Is that
I think
about
so.
right?
I can actually look right now because this is something I do for my enjoyment.
Like
351.
Oh my gosh. So that's
Yeah.
like we've gotten 3 more backers or 4 more backers since like I checked like 20 minutes ago. So well, that's great. I'm so excited that we are able to do this. I wanted to just kind of like get us together and talk a little bit about the comic and get a little bit more from you about the story and the world of REBURN. And then let's go into some questions. And then Laura Vandervoort's also going to join us. So tell us a little bit about REBURN.
Well, as most of you know, these are characters I've been working on for a while. I think I first wrote about this world about 20 years ago, which seems shocking, but and they've always really held a place in my imagination and my heart. I just have always connected with them. And I took time off from writing when I had kids because I was just completely burned out from the business and the harassment and just the lifestyle. I couldn't keep up anymore. And I didn't know if I'd ever really write again. And then when both of our kids were in school, I thought, well, I'm going to give it a shot, but I'm just going to write things that I really want to write. I'm not going to try to write, to people's expectations, because when you're a writer, you get a lot of like, you should write this. People are really looking for this right now. You should do, and so you try to kind of fit yourself into whatever container seems like the best at that moment. And
right.
I was like, I'm just going to do what I want to do, because doing what other people wanted me to do didn't work out great. So I can just do this. And so I went back to this world. And when I first wrote it, it was about one of the characters, Violet. But when I returned to it, I'm older and I have children and I've fallen in love and I have a partner, and I wanted to write about all of that and write about action and challenges and recovering from trauma and what it is to really live a life. So I went to the mom, May, and wrote about her. And I feel a lot of kinship with her because she's a survivor and she's going to do whatever it takes to put her life back together. And I think, I've been through much smaller things, but that's the way I've tried to live my life. Like, I'm going to put myself back together and I'm going to make a life for myself.
That's so awesome. I think I am probably one of the few people who read Violet like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And it always had an impact on me. Like, it was a script that I always remembered. And for anyone who doesn't know, Alyson and I were assistants together, like in my very first job in Hollywood. And we were assistants at a desk, like literally directly across from each other. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things we did when we weren't doing like our jobs we were bouncing ideas off of each other and just sharing materials. And so Violet always stuck with me. And so when you brought me the script for the feature script for REBURN, which was called The Unity, I read it and kind of had those same feelings. And I had been working on a lot of comic book series at the time. I was working on V-Wars when I had reread The Unity. And I remember just thinking like, this is a comic book. Like, this is a graphic novel. This is something that like we need to put visuals to. And so I was so excited when I mentioned it to you and found out that you and your husband Cody are like really big comic fans, and you showed me like your comic collection, which was like a whole room full.
Yeah, that was an exciting moment because we were sitting at lunch, I remember, and you said, hey, what would you think about turning this into a comic book? And I was like, I love that idea. I would be so thrilled to turn it into a comic book. I don't know how. I don't know, like I was overwhelmed with the process of finding an artist and putting this thing in motion. But I was super captivated by the idea of doing it.
Yeah. So this was like a year and a half ago now, I think, that we
Or
had
even
that
more,
lunch.
that we first talked about it.
And then we really did. We were like, how to make a comic book? Like started asking people, reading scripts, like getting a sense of like how it worked and how it translated. Because I think the one thing that we also had in common is like, we really wanted to do this for the fans. Like we wanted to make a world that felt worthy of a place in the comic sphere. And we know that the fans, they're really particular. So we didn't do this in any way that was like, oh, we want to make a comic so that we can make a TV show, which of course we would love to do. But we were like, this has to stand on its own and be something that we're really proud of as a piece of, literature. And so that was something that we really committed to from the beginning. And then we literally just started, making our way, which is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I still remember when you first got the advice, oh, you just reach out to artists and you just ask them. And we were like, wait, you just email them? Like, that doesn't seem right. You can just email people? And yes, you can.
It's like, what, we don't have to call their agents,
right?
And we're their managers, and we don't like, and it was really nice because we had enough material and you had provided so much strong creative that we got really great response. And that's how Elise McCall got involved as well, because we weren't just looking for like artists, like in general, we were like, what books do we love? And whose art are we responding to? And I think you had just read some of the one of the books that Man-Eaters that Elise had done. Yeah, and we were both just excited about that. So she really brought in a lot to the campaign and to the REBURN universe.
Yeah, she's amazing.
So thank you, Elise.
Yeah, I mean, every time I talk to someone, I try to talk her up as much as possible because she's added so much, and the collaboration has been, I mean, I've said this exact phrase, but it's been a real life raft this past year. This whole experience, the collaboration with Elise, but also just all of us together working on this. Because as we all know, this has been a tough year in so many different ways. So to have something that's about reshaping the world the way you hope it will be is very empowering. And especially doing it with a group of women.
Absolutely. And speaking of which, I think we should bring Laura on.
Please.
As our all-female team continues to grow. Hello.
Hi. I was enjoying just watching the conversation. And Alyson, I have to tell you, your passion talking about how you came up with this, you did what you wanted to do, you didn't do what people wanted you to do and be in like a conformed box. I can really feel that from you. And I think that it's such a great concept and just really cool that you guys let me be a part of it.
Well, we're so grateful for your part in it, Laura. Like, you and your fans have showed up in a big way, and it's been meaningful to us in this project. So we see you and we appreciate you. So
they're awesome. And yes, they want to support, women doing what we're doing, and a lot of the projects I've done with Jessica, but this one I think everyone's very, very excited about.
Yes, and I actually have a little sneak peek for the fans out there. Yes. This is the Supergirl art that we did. There's Frankie, because we love Frankie. And we're working on this with a printer, and we've got this really great pearly paper that it's on, and Laura will be signing these. So I'm super excited to frame mine.
I need one to frame ASAP. Please.
Absolutely. And we're excited to get these printed and get them out to the fans. So thank you for letting us do that. That'll be really fun.
I mean, it's very selfish on my behalf because I just wanted one myself. So
I mean, I would also like Elise to draw me as Supergirl. So maybe we can do that in the next campaign.
Exactly. Let's do that. Yeah. So we did get a question. We did get some questions. So we'll get to some questions. But one of the things that where people asked was how you got involved, Laura, in the REBURN universe. So I thought that was kind of a fun story.
Do you want to tell it?
Well, we've known each other now for so long. I don't even know how long we've known.
It starts at Bitten. Yeah.
Yeah. since Bitten, we both worked on the pilot. Well, obviously you worked on the pilot. I was behind the scenes on the pilot, and my husband, partner, directed it. And so that was just such a great experience. And we got kept in touch professionally.
Yeah.
Like we didn't really like get super close, but we just always kind of, I think, saw each other like there was a good vibe between
There
us,
was
and
a
we wanted to
kinship.
work together. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't
Yeah.
think we really kind of nourished that fully or got into it until V Wars,
Yeah.
because we've worked together on and off, but V Wars, it was a very male dominant set, and Jessica was there. And I always tell, which I think I actually did, cornered you and pitched a project to you. And since then we've kind of just been like working together as much as possible, and gathering our tribe of women and creatives, and continue to produce and create projects.
Yeah. And behind you on the wall is a poster for our short film, Age of Dysphoria, which we're really proud of. And that was what you cornered me about. And
Yes.
we ended up doing it, and it was great. And then below that is a poster for My Soul to Take, which is your directorial debut.
Yes. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I don't know how Jessica does it. Directing is terrifying, but she's been a major mentor to
It's a hard job.
Yeah, it is. And it doesn't end, apparently, post-production. But Jessica's been holding my hands through the entire thing. Thank goodness.
You've been doing great. I mean, that's the whole thing. That's how we, with the all-female team, when it came to REBURN too, it was like, we really just wanted, we all brought in our skill set, and then we've all been like helping each other along the way, like on the things that we don't know. You know, behind the scenes, we have Mo Atlas, who's been working on our Kickstarter campaign, and like we couldn't have done this without Mo. She's been amazing. And, you know, it's just like every person has added something into this, and we're just really grateful. I think one of the other questions that we got, which is a question I think for all of us, is like, what have been the biggest challenges for a female production group to break into such a male dominated industry? And before we got on, Alyson and I were talking about, it's like, well, we seem to be in a lot of male dominated industries, but there's a big shift happening. So
Yes.
Alyson, I don't know if you wanted your take on that.
I've been asked, it's back in the back I wrote and directed a feature, Laura, so I know the feelings you're feeling of finishing something. And I mean, it's a road. And
can you send it to me?
Sure, I can send you the Vimeo link.
It's great. It's really good.
And because film obviously is a male dominated industry, so Jess and I were joking about film, television, comic books, they all have the same sort of, you know, patriarchal vibe to them. And I think you just keep on working. You keep on creating work. And like I mean, Laura, I thought you did a great job of describing, like, you kind of find your people and you find your tribe, and you just sort of have, when you find somebody who's good to work with, that you respect, you have to hold on to them. You have to find a way to keep working with them, because that is how you'll build something. And I think for me, I can speak from my personal experience, and I've written about it as well. I went to USC for cinematic arts. I got my MFA there, and the way we were taught, it was very competitive, particularly with women. You know, like, there's only room for so many of you, so you better be the best. And that was definitely what we were taught. And it was so counterproductive. What we should have been taught was, these are your people. Learn to work with them, learn to create with them. Stop looking outside for someone to like save you or give you a job. Start doing things. And I mean, I'm grateful that I have the relationship I have with Jess. And I also have a friend who I produced the feature we made together. And so I have these creative relationships, and they're very sustaining, because if you try to like look outward for people to tell you you're good, it's bad. It's not sustaining. And it's, you know.
Yeah, I had a phone call this morning with someone about just that, not being supported or encouraged in the things that I'm doing when it's their job to do that. And I'm finding that only from the women I am working with who are in the industry and are collaborating and want to support each other, because especially as an actor, girls are very, I aggressive with one another and competitive. And I don't like that. I want my friends to book the jobs that I auditioned for. It's sad when you don't get it from the people whose job it is to support what you're choosing to do. You have to find your own family.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I was actually a theater major in college, Laura, so I also had that.
Yes.
At Northwestern, which a lot of people go on to be very successful actors. And yeah, the whole competition thing, it doesn't, because then what if you actually do make it? It's so lonely.
Yeah, it doesn't
You're
serve.
there all by yourself. Like, what good is that? Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're preaching to the choir.
Yes, I know. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but it's just like, you want to cheer people. You want this to be like everyone celebrating each other's accomplishments.
Mm-hmm.
There's room enough for everyone, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's great too. I mean, we've seen such a shift in the industries in general. I think change is happening. I feel like I think we are seeing a lot more inclusivity on sets, and we're really getting the opportunity to work with different people, and it's becoming, I think, a little bit friendlier out there. But I think we're still part of being the change, and I think that's something that we all take ownership of, which is why it's so great that we can all like work together and find ways to just continue to grow and thrive, because it's like you said, it's so exciting when I see somebody else succeeding, and then it's just kind of like, okay, well, like if she can do it, I can do it. That's kind of the thing that I always try to tell myself. And I think in the comic world too, in that space, it's often said that it is a male dominated industry. I think that is a fact, but I do feel like in this exploration that we've done, and with the team the all-female team we've assembled, we got to meet and be exposed to so many artists that like I didn't know beforehand, and their work. And now it's like, it feels like there is a broader community out there. And, I think with indie comics having a bit of a renaissance, like it's really exciting to be a part of that, and for REBURN to fit into that universe and to see how we'll be able to kind of grow. And I would say the only thing, like the challenge that I recognize as like a producer of this project, was just like a lot of the decision makers I was talking to were male, and I always got the sense like they didn't think I was serious. And I think there's something about that when somebody doesn't think you're serious. I'm like, I'm going to show you how serious I am. Like, in about a year, you'll be logging onto an IGTV link of us talking about our comic book. Okay, you can be a part of it or not.
Make sure you send this to them.
Exactly.
Well, and that's why that panel we posted to the account yesterday, you have no idea what I can do. It's like, that's the feeling, right? May has superpowers, so really people have no idea what she can do. But the reason I feel this kinship with her as a character is because I have felt that way so many times in my own life. And the attempt to silence, like the joy of comic books is to make these stories larger than life. They aren't literal, but I think we can all relate to having someone or something want to silence us. And what do we do in the face of that? Do we turn to our tribe to help them get us through it, or do we get mired in self-loathing or both along
Absolutely.
the way, So I think I think telling that story with an all-female team is much more possible. And I think that's a huge distinction. Like, everyone's about that. Like, okay, we're telling this story, but it's also about this, where I feel like maybe if I had pitched this to a man, it would be like, okay, more fireballs.
Right. Right, totally. And not to say we have definitely had a lot of support,
Yes, we have.
Now that we've done it, we've had a lot of support from a lot of guys in the industry. Yes. So that's been really nice too, because I think we want to have something that resonates like across the board, and that is seen. I think somebody said something that was like, I think having an all-female team is great, but the story actually is great too.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like, so that I think is, a good compliment. Like I want this to hold up. And I think we've done a really nice job developing a really compelling book. And so I think, one of the questions we got, this is a longer question, but it was what I've noticed about a lot of female superheroes in comics and comic adaptations like Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel is that in order to be considered strong, the heroines are portrayed as all powerful and basically invincible. My question is, have you noticed this pattern in comics? And did you purposefully try to make May a different kind of hero, or did it come naturally? Sorry, I had to read that one.
You didn't memorize that, Jess?
Sorry.
That's a great question. And I just want to say about the last thing we were talking about, I also hope we'll bring new fans to comics because we're telling,
Absolutely.
like I do.
Yes.
But yes, I have noticed that because I am a Wonder Woman fan, and I am loving Joelle Jones's new Wonder Woman, and I love Joelle Jones. I'm not super interested in characters who aren't flawed, just as a general writer thing. I don't think it's realistic. And I mean, I think a lot of us are having a lot more conversations about how we can't compare our insides to other people's outsides, but that was not a phrase that was happening when I was younger. People were definitely comparing their insides to everyone's outsides and chasing perfection. And yeah, that's not a thing. Perfection's not real. So I think I've always been interested in deconstructing that concept, especially as it applies to women, because I think that we are held to a completely unrealistic standard. We're supposed to be all things to all people, and right. Not give that much to ourselves. So hopefully this can start talking about the only way May is really going to get those powers back is she's going to have to heal herself, right? So
I love that. Laura, I'd love your opinion, like as going out for these characters, like what are you responding to and what are you seeing as far as the characters that you're playing and portraying?
The stuff that I'm going out to, like what do I respond to? What makes me want to play that character? Or
yeah, absolutely. Like, are you getting more like,
is there a shift?
Is there a shift? Yeah.
Yeah. So I began acting when I was 12, and obviously I wasn't too concerned with character or what it symbolized or meant. I just wanted to be in Goosebumps. But now definitely, mid-20s to my current age, it's important for me to make decisions about the characters I play. And exactly like you said, they need to be flawed because nobody's perfect. Otherwise, what are we? Even characters that aren't real, superheroes, Supergirl, they have to have flaws because otherwise the audience isn't going to relate. So that's important to me. And especially with the projects that Jess and I have done, Age of Dysphoria, I never get a chance to play characters that are broken down and flawed and have addiction issues. That's at the core, that's what I want to play because that's real, that's gritty. So we had to create a project for me to be able to get that out, to show that I could do that. And I still look for those, but I'm finding it's easier to just create them for myself and give myself the opportunity, or other actors the opportunities, like Jenny in our movie. But I mean, I have seen a shift. I am seeing a lot in terms of female directors. Even I didn't have any in my life as an actor for 15 years, 15, 20 years,
Wow.
I just recently started working with female directors. That just wasn't in the zeitgeist of things that I was seeing on set. And that should be something. And that's why I wanted to direct. I finally had role models and women I could talk to. This is all very new in our industry. I am seeing a shift with actors, female actresses supporting one another when they haven't before, because I think we're all realizing, like we've talked about, that's where it's at. That's where you can be creative and do the things you want to do, because it's just not really out there yet as an actor to have those opportunities. So I'm seeing shifts, but it's not consistent yet in terms of characters that are, I prefer characters that are flawed, driven, strong. They're not in a box. I hate playing a mom, but if it's a mom who has some kind of mental issue, like anything to make her real, then I'm all for it, but it's hard to find.
I think it's I mean, I'm not saying this in like but I think it's probably you have an additional challenge because you are very beautiful. And so lots of times we really want beautiful women to just be like uncomplicated because,
right.
It's easier for our brain. Not my brain, but
No,
like
not
our communal brain, like pretty ladies have it fine, like they don't have any problems. They're gorgeous. Have you seen them? And I just think,
yeah,
obviously that's not true, but
no. But that's one of the reasons that I'm it's been 22 years in this industry and I have not felt fulfilled in terms of characters until recently. Maybe a little bit in Bitten because she was one of the guys, she was one of the pack members, she took care of herself, but I was playing a werewolf. Where are the real women? That's hard.
Yeah. Exactly. So. Well, we're gonna take you not to get too far into issue 2, but Laura's gonna be playing the character of Poppy, and we're really excited about that because we're gonna put you in a gunslinging Western bar. So I don't know, Alyson, if you want to share a little bit about Poppy and what we have to look forward to in issue 2.
Well, I mean, Poppy is fairly new to me because of, our relationship. Laura was like, well, here's something we might want to try. Do we feel like there's a place for Laura in issue 2? And so I went back to issue 2 and I realized, yes, there was, Poppy's a perfect choice for you. It just felt right. So then she's taken up space in my brain and I'm thinking about her a lot more because she's you. And, Poppy is very flawed with a complicated past, and she's brokenhearted, and she
stop describing me.
But she puts it all into her work, like she's right. So
I'm kidding, sorry.
And she's smart and sassy. That word is not the best. She's smart talking, she's funny.
And confident.
Yeah. And and she doesn't really doubt herself, which is it's a really fun thing to write. A person who just like jumps into a fight and is like, I'm going to come out of this winning. That's that's a fun thing to write. I've got my gun, I've got my smarts, I'm not worried to, I'll break some noses, whatever, it's all good. And I thinking of her, like, because there are a lot of men out there on the plains, just feeling unintimidated by them and them respecting that. And knowing that she's serious. She will F them up. If she needs to, she will. And she has a solid track record. So it's fun. She's really fun.
Yeah, I'm so thrilled with Poppy and what you did and all that she stands for. So much so that I keep kind of pressuring Jess into making this a movie so I can play that character.
Okay, well, it's been noted, Laura.
I'm just going to say it again.
Yeah, it's been noted. I told you I'm thinking about it a lot. So, you're not being ignored.
Not at all. No, I mean, I think that's what this Kickstarter has really taught us is just like there are people coming to this book and they're really excited about it and we're getting a lot of attention, which has been amazing. But like we feel, really strongly about continuing forward and trying to stay as independent as we can for as long as we can so that we can tell the stories that we want to tell. So a lot of that is really in thanks to the Kickstarter community and to the fans and to the people that, like our friends and family who have also come in to this campaign. Like it really did make a huge difference. And, we've got 2 days left of the campaign. And then, where we sit after that is, I think we're just going to be really into the fulfillment phase. I think we've answered basically all of the questions except somebody had a question about the process packet. And Alyson, I didn't know if you might want to tell people a little bit more about what a process packet is if they're not familiar.
So it's something you'll see on some Kickstarter, because of course, when we started designing our own Kickstarter, we just looked at tons of Kickstarters and thought, like, took the pieces that we thought were appealing. Someone asked me if we had hired a consultant, you know, like to do our whole campaign. I was like, nope. We just, you know, looked at a lot of comps.
A lot of Zoom calls.
Yeah, so many Zoom calls. And a process packet was one that was interesting to us. And so we started talking about it, and it's a great way, because I get questions from my fellow USC folks, like, how'd you make a comic book? I might make a comic book. What, you know, and it's like, well, you can get this tier. Here it is. It will tell you how to make a comic book. It has the script. Yeah, please. And many of them have. So thank you.
Yes.
So it has the script and the pencils and inks and colors. And it also, I've written like an introduction and pieces between each section, just kind of talking about what we learned there and maybe some surprises. And so it's a nice walkthrough, like, of what it was like to make this comic book. And it's a bit of work. And I'm grateful that we had this prompt, because I wouldn't have done it otherwise. And it was gratifying to look back on the past many months, like, wow, we did this. Like, I had almost forgotten certain parts of it because, it just, because life. And we did this, and all the pieces that have come together to make this whole. It is a lot of different things. Luckily, I think obviously Jess is a producer and I have produced. So I think both of us have that sort of mind of, what do we need to do and how do we make this happen? And but it's a really good, if you want to make a comic book, it's a good thing to have for reference, I think.
Yeah, because we're gonna have all of the process of all of our art as it, we had to learn along the way too, like the steps of making a comic book, just like Laura with you and my Soul to Take, like, you don't know it until you do it, like, and you can kind of glean it. But now, like, when we went back and, Alyson and I've been working on the process packet with Mo, and we went through everything that we have, and we're like, oh my gosh, we have 100-page process packet. I'm pretty sure it could be 200 pages if we wanted to do it, and it would
to
be
get into
full.
the real nitty gritty.
Yeah. But like, we're gonna just, reduce it to the 100 pages that are gonna be the most exciting for everybody. And also, it's gonna be something great for us to have as we go into our next issues. So I think this has been great. Thank you so much, Laura, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for having this amazing idea.
This was such a fun conversation. You're welcome. It was nice to sit down with both of you and talk about it and see a print of Poppy. That was exciting. That was a fun reveal.
Oh, no, this is the Supergirl, yeah.
Supergirl, sorry.
You're okay. Yeah, same thing.
I know. I get to hold it. It's so nice. Well, I think just a reminder, our campaign closes in 2 days, and so we're really excited to share everything with you, and we'll be getting lots of updates as we get into fulfillment. And hopefully, if people like watching this, we're thinking about roping in some more friends, and once people have actually seen the book, we can talk a little bit more in depth about the characters and where we're headed with the REBURN universe. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It closes at 9 a.m. on Friday, our Kickstarter, 9 a.m. PST. So
yes.
Awesome.
Right.
Thank you.
Thanks, ladies.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.